Good morning, everybody. Felt like starting off the show a different way with a different flavor this morning. This is the Going Broadway podcast. Do not adjust your TV. Again, we just decided to play a little something different this morning for our intro. We appreciate you tuning in. My name is Alex. To my left is Scorpio Sky, a.k.a. Cole. What's happening?
You know, I was pleasantly surprised to be able to have a strap around my shoulder this morning. Alex was like, "Hey, let's show them what we got here." So yeah, I'm having a great morning already.
Oh man. So yeah, blanket good morning to everybody. Our apologies for the technical issues this morning. I think we're hopefully, knock on wood, past that little snafu. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a great week so far. Got a lot to talk about, and then we are going to do our first ever Going Broadway podcast roundtable. I'll explain what that is in just a second. Just once again, just a blanket good morning to everybody. I apologize once again for the snafu that we had this morning. It appears it is okay now. In our defense, it's actually not on our end. It's on Restream's end, apparently. It seemed like that froze up or locked up because Facebook and YouTube both
Just like froze.
Simultaneously froze. So it doesn't seem to be anything on our end. But that being said, let's talk about some stories, shall we? So just to kick things off, unfortunately, we saw last night that Renee Young has tested positive for COVID-19. And it begs the question, when will 2020 end? I mean, come on. It's I don't know. It's just insane. Day after day after day. At least with regards to the wrestling world, it's like one thing after another, and really not just the world of wrestling, but that's just how it has appeared lately. What's really odd is that, so we saw on AEW last night, Jon Moxley was not present. And Tony Khan, if I read correctly, Tony Khan said something along the lines of Jon Moxley was not there because he was in contact with somebody who was in contact with someone with COVID-19 or suspected to have it. Then we get this story that came out, and it's like, oh, that couldn't have been further from the truth. Like, his wife has it. So I don't know where or if there was a miscommunication. But Renee Young has had a rough weekend of itself. I mean, WWE Backstage has seemingly been canceled. I don't think I've seen a confirmation on that yet, but they've ceased production on it. And I'll be honest, I did not watch one episode of it, so it doesn't affect me. But what are your thoughts on all this? I'm curious to get your hot take on this, Cole.
So I feel like, as far as the communication thing goes, maybe at the time that Jon Moxley shared that info with Tony Khan, it was just speculation at the time. Like, hey, you know, my wife's getting tested because she was in contact with somebody who had COVID. And so maybe he was just saying I should go ahead and stay at home because there's a possibility that it could be around. And I think that maybe the new information hadn't maybe been passed along just yet. Because that sounds like something that would happen. So I don't know. I don't think that it was intentionally done on Tony Khan's part. They're usually pretty honest on air, so I don't see it being like a trying to cover it up or anything like that. The only other thing I can think of is that they're just not allowed to say her name or make any reference to her, so they have to say something like that. But
that could have possibly been it as well. I didn't look at it that way, so that's a good point.
I'm not sure. I don't. I mean, they get away with doing stuff with like Britt Baker and Adam Cole, but I'm not sure how all that works. So it could have just been his request too. You just never know what was said behind the scenes. So there's that. As far as, I mean, Backstage to me was kind of a failure to begin with, just because you're trying to do a talk show about something that's scripted and on a network or on a channel that is known to have kind of unscripted content in a sense, they're talking about sports typically, and this is sports entertainment. And so they're trying to make it seem like we don't know that it's scripted. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that was the problem for me is they weren't really doing anything with it that brought it to life more. It just kind of seemed like another cheesy show that they would do on air.
Right. Another interesting facet about this is it's being reported that Renee Young's COVID-19 positive test was not actually one administered by WWE. It was reported on Wrestling Observer Radio by our good buddy, our friend that we all hold to the highest esteem and respect, Mr. Dave Meltzer.
I wish we had a boo sound effect.
Yeah. So it was noted by him that Renee had a coronavirus test, but it was at her home in Las Vegas this past Monday. The report was that she was quote unquote. The quote was she was pretty sick, but she's doing a lot better now. But Moxley tested as well, but he tested negative. So more to come about that. It's going to be interesting to see how AEW moves forward with Fyter Fest, which begins next week. We got the full card for nights 1 and 2.
He's on night 2 though, right?
He is on night 2, so it's going to be a little bit more time to figure out what they want to do. But kind of a caveat to that is, I read that night 1 is live and that night 2 will be taped, or maybe it was the other way around. I'm not sure. Well, it can't be the other way around because you have to have it for this upcoming Wednesday. So yeah, I think that night 1 is live. I want to say that they're taping night 2 either the next day or so the weekend after, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So I don't know what the plan is. I'm sure whatever plans they have or had may just be completely thrown out the window. So we'll see. Again, just a blanket good morning to everybody that has jumped on. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. But as far as the card for Fyter Fest, it seems like it is pretty well finalized. I mean, they announced that a couple of wrestlers will be appearing or be competing, is what they said, I believe. But night 1 is going to be MJF and Wardlow against Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Private Party against Santana and Ortiz. The women's title match with Shida and Penelope Ford. The AEW World Tag Team titles as Cole and I will be. I'm sorry, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page will be defending against Best Friends. And we got the TNT title match with Cody against Jake Hager. Then I'll run down night 2, but I'm actually more excited about night 1. And it's the key word there is almost. If I had to pick one I'm more excited about, it's probably night 1. But night 2, we've got Lance Archer against Joey Janela. Nyla Rose will appear. It doesn't say she's competing. It says she will appear. So I don't know if that means she's going to be wrestling or not. We've got Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, and Stu Grayson against SCU. Jericho against Orange Cassidy. I'm actually excited to watch that, see how it turns out. FTR and the Bucks against Lucha Bros and Butcher and the Blade. That's going to be a good match also. I really feel like that's going to put Butcher and the Blade it's going to put them on the map, or if they can't hang with them, they're going to be
off the map.
Exactly. And then hopefully the AEW World Title match with Moxley and Brian Cage. But we found out last night the NXT is going to be running the Great American Bash in competing with AEW. What are your thoughts on NXT using the Great American Bash name or moniker, I guess?
It doesn't shock me. It kind of seems like they're tapping into kind of the retro, old school kind of vibe. I mean, they just did In Your House.
They've done War Games.
They've been doing War Games. I think they're kind of trying to take NXT in that direction of like revamping almost, or I don't know what you would call it. It just seems like they're trying to keep giving it more and more flavor. And so if they maybe get away from calling them just takeovers and giving them more established names,
Right.
it might help with that. And I think they're kind of digging into the bag of trademarks that they own, saying we are paying for this, we might as well use it.
The thing I find interesting is that, and I apologize if I mess with my headphones off and on, guys. Every so often, I'm only getting one ear that works, so I've got a short here. Technology is great when it works, and it sucks when it doesn't. But anyway,
True.
What's interesting is that they're using all of these more old school gimmicks and matches and just anything retro, and they're putting it with NXT, which again, I'm not complaining about it. I think it's great, but I would just as much like to see a War Games that involves, guys from Raw and SmackDown. I would love to see something that, I liked Great American Bash whenever they brought it back, and then they decided to basically trim the name down and just call it the Bash, and that's when I was like, really? Why?
Right.
Like, what's the point? But anyway, but what's an interesting piggyback to that story is I gotta bring it back up here. So reportedly, come on, computer decides it wants to. Here we go. So Dusty Rhodes' daughter actually wants WWE to pay her mother, Dusty Rhodes' widow, for using the Great American Bash name. So I think her name is Teal, Teal, T-E-I-L. I don't know how to pronounce that. I butcher names all the time. But she said, this was on Twitter, she said she wants WWE to, quote unquote, cut my mom a check for using that name. And it was one of several pieces of the American Dream intellectual property that he created that WWE owns. Cody hasn't commented yet, but I don't see WWE cutting a check because they own it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I see what she's trying to say, and in a perfect world, we would pay people for what they've done, even after they've done it. Like it. But at the end of the day, they own that name. They own Dusty Rhodes. They own. I mean, that's the thing about the business, is that when you get up to these higher companies, and they actually have a reason to keep owning a name after that person's long and gone, they're definitely not about to go and cut a check for something that's making them money that they own.
Right.
It'd be different if he was still alive and was with the company, and it was something that he was contributing to still. But just because his name is attached to it doesn't necessarily mean that a check should be too.
No, and this is one of the rare instances I actually kind of side with WWE on this. I get where she's coming from. It's just, if WWE cut a check to anyone and everyone that has ever said, "Hey, you didn't create this, I did," or such and such family relative did, they'd be cutting out checks on a weekly basis. But the fact of the matter is, it's intellectual property. WWE does own it. So
there seems to be there's obviously some saltiness there in a sense. There's some they're frustrated with WWE as the Rhodes family. It's clear, just from watching AEW. There's constant jokes and whatnot towards Triple H, towards Vince McMahon, towards the WWE. I mean, they talk about the other company all the time, and a lot of the wrestlers who have wrestled for both have those conversations.
Right.
I think a lot of it is just, you kind of get to the point where you look for anything to complain about, maybe, or something to say that's just negative, and sometimes you just start reaching because you've already said the things that make sense. and now you're just trying to find a reason to keep saying things to keep kind of building your case or your point. The point's been made. Okay, we understand that this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, but we can't keep reaching for things that are still within the legal right of that company to do.
Agreed.
And I think that that's what this feels like to me. Is it's just like, oh, well, because I already have a problem or I have an issue with them, I feel like they should also cut me a check or cut my mom a check for this because they've been wrong. And it's like, okay, no, but they're actually not in the wrong here. Here, they own this. It's something that they have the right to do. That would also be like saying if you were on creative for WWE, you brought a great idea to the table for the company you worked for.
Exactly.
And they use it, and they use it for the next 100 years. And after you're long and gone, you're expected to check every time that pay-per-view comes around because it was your idea initially, and your family is expecting that check now every single year that you use that idea. I just don't think that's how it works.
I want to get to some of your guys' comments. I'm going to scroll back up a little ways. Stacy says, I didn't get the memo about wearing our title belts today. Yeah, that was kind of something I decided this morning.
Do you have enough shoulders for that?
She does. So she's not Stacy Quattro belts yet.
She's got to keep room for those, you know?
Yeah, but
how are you going to hold those if you win, you know? Like, how's that going to work?
Nathan says, beautiful title belts. I appreciate it.
We won them last night off air.
Dark match. You'll see
it on Tuesday.
Mr. Ryan says COVID will go into 2021 and 2022. I bet. I don't think that's anyway. No, I'm not going to get on that soapbox. He says wrestling should shut down for a while. I disagree. I don't think that. Okay, I was going to keep my mouth shut, but I'm not going to now. I don't think that this is worth the trouble that we've made it for the last 3 months. I have strict opinions on it where I get the whole masks thing. I get it, but at the same time I don't. I don't know how to make more sense of it than that, but we can't walk around with masks the rest of our lives because I get that doctors and nurses wear them, 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day or whatever, but those are breathable masks. You've got people that are buying these masks that are made of different material and whatever, and like they're wearing them. You've got people that wear them at, if you go through the drive-thru restaurant or Walmart or whatever, and they're wearing these masks, but they're not the breathable kind. And, people are wondering why, you got people going to the doctor's offices now with, lightheadedness and nauseousness or whatever. Like the first time, my daughter is 8 years old. She'll be turning 9 this upcoming weekend. The first time she wore a mask, she went with my wife to the store. She had to take it off after 10 minutes because she felt lightheaded. And it's one of those things that at some point, and I've said this before, and I'll just end my thought with this. At some point, the longer we keep things shut down, the worse off it's gonna be for any individual niche, if you want to look at it that way. So for sports, wrestling, baseball, basketball, hockey, football, whatever, entertainment, movie theaters, local swimming pools and theme parks and things like that. The longer stuff stays shut down, the longer it's going to take for things in general to recover. Up until a few days ago, there was talk that baseball season was going to be canceled, and there was a poll that was done with baseball fans that basically said, hey, if we don't have a season in 2020, is that going to affect your fandom, so to speak? You're going to watch next season. An overwhelming statistic of like 68% said, no, I will be done with baseball. I will never watch again if you guys don't have a season this year. Now, that part of that could have been, sour grapes and, just kind of just an on-the-spot whim to say, hey, I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to watch baseball again because selfishly I want to watch it. I want to watch it again this year. So that could be skewed a little bit, but we'll get back to wrestling in just a second. But baseball already has a decreasing fan base. So I think if you shut wrestling down, going back to Mr. Ryan, going back to your comment, if you shut wrestling down, wrestling's kind of in the same boat as baseball. Wrestling does not have the fans that it once did. You know, Raw and SmackDown aren't getting 4s and 5s in the ratings. You know, you're not getting the you're not getting the you're not getting the TV ad revenue that you once got. Now I know that they're kind of shifting a different direction. You know, they're getting a lot of their revenue from, you know, the Saudi deal in particular. So I get that we live in a different time, but you know, at the same time, they still value those ratings to the standpoint that they're still posted every week. They still, you know, it's still, you know, NXT is still losing to AEW every week. Those two shows in particular, they're not drawing 1 million viewers every week. They're right now averaging 6, 7, 800,000 depending on the week each. So I don't think you should shut down wrestling. I think if anything, you need to start opening things back up. If people need to wear masks, fine, but people need to be wearing the right masks. Is I guess I'll end my thought with that. But you know, I kind of got off on a tangent, but I needed to kind of get that off my chest because it's just this whole thing has been silly to me. I mean, the last April, May, yeah, so 3.5 months roughly. Anyway, and a lot of my frustration boils down to just other personal opinions and beliefs, and I won't get into that. So anyway. Lenny says, bad timing for my fellow Canadian, Renee Young. Artie, nice tag belts. I appreciate it. Yeah, William makes a great point, and I was going to get to this, and I totally forgot, so thanks for bringing it back up. So she was at the Performance Center whenever they presented AJ with the Intercontinental title, and so it's one of those things where Renee was around AJ, and AJ was around Daniel Bryan, I think, is what the segment called for, so to speak.
Right.
Just 1 second.
And was also around, obviously, Matt Riddle because they wrestled a match. So there, and then there was several people around the ring for that presentation.
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting to. So it's one of those things where, at what point, if you're WWE, do you say, well, they were in contact with such and such, and you know, I don't know. It's just interesting. You want to read some comments real quick? I got to respond to something.
Yeah, I would be happy to. So after that, obviously, Steve here says Uncle Dave, when we were talking about Dave Meltzer. Mark, good morning to you. Matt, good morning to you as well. Andrew says, what a coincidence. I think he was talking about the Great American Bash. And then he says that I like that Trips and Cody are having a contest to see who loved NWA/WCW more.
that's a great comment. I love it.
A great comment. And then Tyler says, nice belts. Thank you. They are great belts. I'm making sure I didn't skip anybody on YouTube here. John Mathis says, morning, guys. Good morning to you. Mr. Ryan, I'm wearing my I Was There Mania 30 shirt. Checking
Nice.
in from Connecticut from Dolph. I need a belt. Don, or not Dolph. Don. Sorry, my apologies.
Your name has been changed to Dolph.
Sorry, there will not be a Quattro strap happening.
Uh-oh.
Trace straps in my destiny.
Uh-oh.
ECW One Night Stand 05 or 06. What do you like better? Is what Mr. Ryan says. And we might talk about that during our roundtable.
So yeah, as far as our roundtable, guys, basically what that's going to look like, we'll go through one or two quick stories, I guess. But what we'll do is our roundtable is basically going to consist of, rather than so me and Cole are going through a couple of topics that we're bringing up at the moment. You guys can bring up topics that you'd like to talk about, that you'd like for me and Cole to talk about, that you want us to give our opinions on. So kind of like ask the hosts, but we can do like rapid fire topics or something like that.
It's more topical than question. Like, bring a topic up and we'll discuss it instead of asking us the question.
And Jean-Marc, Goulet. Hope I pronounced your name right. We'll actually tell you what. We'll tackle that question or topic after we get through. We'll do one last topic on our end, and then we'll start tackling your guys' suggestions. So, Charlotte Flair, everyone's favorite topic. So it was rumored that she was going to be out for an indefinite amount of time for a what was the quote? An elective surgery. And reports ranged anywhere from like a few weeks, a couple months, to she'll be out until Royal Rumble of next year. She did an interview with Sport Hiatus, and Flair herself revealed that she'll only be gone a few weeks, which kind of falls in line with the original report that was out about her missing maybe up until SummerSlam. But she says, yes, I'll only be gone for a few weeks. They can still play things on the WWE Network to keep fans thinking about me, but utilizing my social media will be most important while I'm gone. No one is going to miss me. They're still going to feel like I'm there, is basically what I'm saying. I'm gone, but I'm not really gone. Again, she's reportedly getting an elective surgery. It says she will reveal the exact nature of that procedure when the time is right. Luckily, it doesn't seem like fans will have to wait a long time before seeing her again. I'm kind of hesitant if I should say what I think the elective surgery is.
I mean, like,
Well, no, okay. Oh, no, I'll just say it because I think me not saying it is going to be worse. I'm wondering if... So we've seen her go back and forth about, she says she's wanting kids, and Andrade and her have kind of been not vocal, but they haven't tried to hide, if they want kids or don't want kids. Andrade I've actually seen go back and forth. For her to say it's an elective surgery, I do wonder if maybe they've decided that they don't want to have any kids anymore. I don't think it was an enhancement surgery. That's why I wanted to say.
I'm just saying that's happened, obviously. So
well, she's already done it, so I'm just like,
I don't know what's left to enhance,
or maybe I don't know, maybe a reduction. I don't know, but anyway, I saw that and I'm like, I wonder if her and Andrade are just gonna focus more on their careers, and because you got to think a procedure like that, you can always have it reversed,
right?
So. Maybe that's just
and it could be even something beyond that. I mean, people choose to get their wisdom teeth taken out at certain points. They choose to have certain things done that could be a problem, aren't really a major problem, but it's just might as well get it over with. Types procedures. Maybe there's something internally that's not really a danger, but it's just like I might as well take care of it.
Right.
And so there's plenty of things that could be involved there to where I don't even want to start trying to guess like what it would be. I think there's a reason why it just said it's this surgery and not like a specific surgery.
Yeah. Andrew says she could be New Age Undertaker. He always seemed to take a couple of months off and return with new ink. I think if it was, she was just getting surgery. I think if she was getting tattoos, then maybe it would.
I'm gonna take a couple weeks off because I'm gonna get this new tattoo. No, I mean, so obviously, as soon as that news broke, like the internet broke too about it. I felt like when it comes to the wrestling world, like everyone's posted all these articles about how pumped they are that Charlotte's out and all that stuff, and I'm just like, you guys obviously don't understand that she is that good. Like, she legit, and I love what they did on Raw. One, I love that Asuka got the win. I thought that was a huge build for Asuka to finally get the win over Charlotte, whether it was because Charlotte was hurt by Nia or, whatever the case may be that they kind of tried to spin it on. But I'm glad that Asuka got the win. But I loved how they said, Ric Flair is she's no longer Ric Flair's daughter, but Ric Flair is her dad. And they like span it to like put it in a way that Charlotte is the focus now.
Right.
And I loved her promo that she cut where she said, "Did Ric Flair do this? No, Charlotte did that. Did Ric Flair do this? Oh no, Charlotte did that." And she started to actually show her own accolades that were earned, that she did on her own. She did not use the obviously the Flair moniker is there, but she earned those accolades that she's gotten. And so she kills it. I'm glad that she's not going to be off TV for like a year, like till next Royal Rumble.
They need her right now.
I think a couple weeks, whatever. She's definitely earned some time off, so I definitely wouldn't be opposed to, especially if she was to feel like she disappeared for a little while and then come back would be great. Because then maybe the staleness would disappear too.
Agreed.
So I think maybe the couple weeks might help. But I'm kind of like of the mindset that I want her on TV. I don't know if I necessarily want to see her win a title belt. I don't think she has to do that right now. I think there's just some great storylines you could do with her, with some women who are kind of sitting on the sidelines. I actually wouldn't mind seeing her find a tag partner and accomplish the women's tag belts. That's something that she hasn't really done yet. And I wouldn't mind seeing her get teamed with somebody and have a tag title run. So there are different things they can do with her going forward. So
who would you tag with Charlotte Flair?
Oh, man. I mean, obviously, the one that I would say is off TV right now due to having a baby, just because they've had a history in the past of being a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
So I would initially say Becky Lynch, but obviously that's not going to happen.
Not right away anyway.
Yeah, not anytime soon. I don't know. To me, like, actually, I wouldn't mind seeing her and Lacey Evans.
That's who I was thinking.
That's the
but
most
you'd
intriguing.
You'd have to move one of them around.
Yeah, you would. And the other one that's very intriguing for me, just because I think she deserves the build, and that would be a great way to build her, would be Bianca Belair.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And I think her and Bianca have very similar kind of styles.
Right.
And so either of those two, I think putting someone a little bit younger with her that could use the rub would be nice. And I think Bianca's the one that intrigues me more because she's not really being used right now.
We're getting some interesting suggestions. Don says Tamina, Mr. Ryan, Charlotte, and Natty would be good. They're doing something with Natty and Lana, so that
the thing with Natty is that she goes stale so quick. Like, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with Natty, but she goes stale because her in-ring ability is not up to par with the rest of the roster. But
part of that is, I think, is age. I mean,
yeah,
she's been around for a while.
Of course. And I'm not taking anything away from her. She's been monumental, I think, in the women's division as far as tenure.
I would actually go as far as to say I think Natalya Neidhart's probably been the most underrated and underutilized women's talent WWE has ever had.
Oh, of course. At least in the more recent years, for sure. Like, probably in the past decade.
I think I would, just my personal opinion, I'd still say ever. I mean, because if you look up and down from mid-90s until now, I mean, just when you look at work rate, in-ring work, not so much lately, but whenever she was at her peak, she has a great move set. It's rare that she's kind of the women's workhorse. I mean, it's not often that she's been injured or on the shelf for an extended amount of time. She might have taken some time off when her husband had his injury.
Right.
But aside from that, she's always been someone that they could rely on. So anyway, that's a topic for another time.
Yeah, I definitely think what my point is that I don't think she needs to be a focal point. I think they have missed the mark with her, but I don't think we need to keep trying to recreate it. I think the damage has been done, and you use her to enhance others now.
I agree.
So as far as Charlotte goes, I think that she's in a position right now where you can still keep her in prominent storylines, but it's time to use her to help get others over.
Sorry, go ahead if you were still.
And I still think Bianca Belair is the one. Even if they don't tag, like a storyline between those two would be great. Even a 1-on-1 without a belt would be great. Bianca Belair should be on TV. So unless she's abstaining for some reason, which I just have a hard time believing since Street Profits have been featured every single week. I know they're the champions, but they could have stepped down if they were really passionate about it.
The only thing I've read about that is that they just don't feel like she fits with their comedic gimmick right now.
I don't want her with the Street Profits. I'm saying she's just not on TV.
No, I know.
And why you would introduce her on TV right after Mania and then put her on TV for a couple weeks, not even really fulfill the rest of the storyline with the Zelina Vega. So unless there's an injury with her or there's something we don't know about, I want to know why she's not on TV, because you might as well kept her in NXT. If you're not going to use her here, she is one of your best talents, and you have her sitting at home, and I just don't understand that.
And maybe you keep her off TV a little longer, and maybe not even repackage her, but just like let her go back to NXT. And because I know that they're doing that Fatal 4-Way for the number one contender, for the women's title match. Maybe have her get involved with that. I don't know.
I have a hard time with that when you had her literally make a shirt that says "I go here now."
Well, I know. I'm just, but it's WWE. Logic is thrown out the window at this point.
Just pushed the whole idea. So I'm like, let's use her. I'm actually okay with the idea of bringing her in to be the next challenger for Asuka, and having her have a prominent feud where she doesn't get the win is fine with me. But you're running, if Charlotte's going to be off TV for a few weeks, if we're done with Nia, which let's hope that's true.
From what I'm reading, it's not. I think they're still going to do their triple threat match at SummerSlam.
Probably. Hopefully after that's done, and maybe there's a Nia Charlotte Flair that comes out of that storyline, and we can get Asuka with someone else. But I'm of the mindset that I want Kairi Sane or Bianca Belair or somebody that's fresh. I'm ready for something different. So
no, I agree. I think if we're gonna pair her up with somebody that they want Charlotte Flair to help get somebody over and give them a rub, whether they deserve it or not. Pair her with Chelsea Green.
I mean, they did tease that on NXT. I was thinking that, but I just don't. There are other people who need it more than Chelsea Green right now. Chelsea Green shouldn't even really get the call up, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So I'm just kind of like, Chelsea Green, if she's going to get called up, she needs to do squash matches for a while and, fight women who aren't even on NXT for some reason. That's what I'm saying. I'm not sold on Chelsea Green. So I would definitely never pick her.
Yeah, Matt says Dana Brooke. That's not. It's intriguing because you guys got to remember Dana Brooke was Charlotte's bodyguard.
Yeah.
Originally, so they could go that route. The more I think about that, I'd still say I'd maybe just a tad more like the pairing of Flair and
Evans
and Lacey Evans just a little bit better, but that you could make an intriguing storyline out of pairing Dana Brooke back with Charlotte Flair.
It would help Dana because Dana's not good on the mic, and Charlotte is, and Dana's decent in the ring to the point that I think that they would mesh well as far as in-ring ability, but would allow Charlotte to kind of carry the moniker of holding the mic, the promos down.
Right. All right, guys, let's do some round table fun, shall we? So what I need from you guys is just give us some topics that you want us to talk about, that you'd like to talk about, that you want us to give our opinions on, that you want to give your opinions on. Send those in through our Facebook and YouTube video chats, and we'll get to those here in just a second.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
But first, real quick, guys, I want to let you know about a couple quick things. You can check out all of our shows on Facebook and YouTube, whether it's live, whether it's after the fact. All of our shows are archived. You can go back and watch any and all of them at your convenience. We are at facebook.com/Going Broadway Podcast. Please give our page a like. We're trying to get to our 5,000 Facebook likes so we can do our next 3-belt giveaway. If this is your first or maybe a more recent time joining us live, we are going to be having a 3-belt giveaway once we get to 5,000 Facebook likes as well as 1,000 Twitter followers. So please like our Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter at GoingBRDWYPod. That is also our Instagram handle at GoingBRDWYPod. Please follow us on Instagram. Please subscribe to our YouTube page, GoingBroadwayPodcast.com/YouTube. We also have a Patreon page if you're interested. We have 4 different paid tiers that you can choose from, as much as $50 a month and as little as $5 per month, but each has their own perks and benefits. So please give us some consideration in being one of our paid patrons. We would appreciate it. We also have some cool new merch that I'll show you guys real quick. We have some new shirts that we just rolled out. Was it last week?
It's been 2. Yeah, it was Monday last week.
So we revealed these last week. If you're interested in any of these, the T-shirts are $25 shipped plus applicable taxes. The hoodies are $50 shipped plus applicable taxes. That is for sizes small through extra large. If you order a size double XL or larger, there will be an additional fee for that. So if you're interested in any of those shirts, please hit me up on my private Facebook page or through our Going Broadway podcast, really any of our social media platforms, and I can get your information and let you know how to send payment and get you hooked up with one of these. From the time that an order is placed to it coming to your front door, if you live within the lower 48 states, it's about 3 to 4 weeks because they are made to order. So just keep that in mind. I need to figure out how to turn off that timer whenever I go back and forth from screen to screen. So anyway, all right, guys, let's see what questions you have. I want to go to the very first one that someone sent in about the. He basically said, what are your thoughts on the TNT title? I want to go back and read the exact post. So it was Jean-Marc Goulet. What do you think of the new TNT belt? I've given my thoughts on it a little bit before. There's rumors that it's not finished yet.
Oh no, Cody said it last night in his promo. It is not done. During AEW last night, during his little press conference with Jake Hager, he literally said we have an unfinished belt, and kind of tied it into his promo about hope. Talking about that there's always things that can happen and stuff. So
there's some behind the scenes things that I kind of halfway know about that doesn't line up with the fact that it's supposedly not done. My thing is. Okay, so AEW submits a design or submits ideas to a belt maker and says, this is what we're looking for, this is what we want, but you need to design the artwork for it. We'll approve it. Once we get something approved, then you make it. The problem is I read that this has been in the works since January or late January, early February, I think is what I heard. You're telling me that this guy can't get a belt done whenever? This is just from what I've been told, from what I've read. So take it with a grain of salt. A guy can't finish a belt in 3 months. I get that COVID kind of threw stuff for a loop. I'm trying to think. Double or Nothing was mid-May, was it not? I think.
Yes.
So a little over 3 months. And from start to finish, or at least late. Okay, I'll back up. Late January, early February is when I either read or was told that the belt itself was actually started to be made. So AEW and this belt maker agreed on the design, what it's supposed to look like or what they want it to look like. The problem is, and this is just my understanding, when a belt is made, that belt has been plated already. So what I mean by that is when you have a piece of metal and you're making the belt, you can put nickel plating on it or you can put the gold plating on it. So gold plating or silver plating, essentially. Now, I'm trying to articulate this as best as I can. Whenever Cody says this belt isn't finished yet, if it's not finished, they're going to have to give him another belt, because you can't just add gold plating to that belt. Like, it's going to have to be a version 2, so to speak. Now, as far as back to your question, as far as the belt in itself right now, I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people are saying it is. It's very bland, don't get me wrong, but the design in itself is kind of is very much akin, I should say, to the NWA television title because of the red strap. I do like the side plates on it. I've read that some people hate it. I actually like it. It's Ted Turner's mansion or recording studios or video studios or something like that. The main plate is very bland, but the fact of the matter is, at some point, AEW and this belt maker had to come to an agreement and say, okay, we know the belt's not going to be done in time for Double or Nothing, then just do the best you can and we'll use it. The problem lies in the fact that if that belt is unfinished, then I'm kind of contradicting myself when I say this. If the belt is unfinished, then maybe say ahead of time, if you're going to use it, if you're AEW and you're still going to use it, maybe let the people know, hey, this is going to be unfinished. Because the timing of it sequentially, it doesn't make sense. The big reveal was supposed to be on the pay-per-view, but then you've got Mike Tyson posting pictures on his Instagram, an hour or two before the Cody and Lance Archer match. And obviously people were left underwhelmed. Rightfully so. If you're AEW, you should have told people ahead of time, hey, this belt is not going to be finished whenever we reveal it. Something along the lines, or somewhere along the way, something got communicated or not communicated, because it doesn't make sense for how everything went down for the big reveal to be what was supposedly an unfinished belt. My thought on the matter is, I wonder if AEW didn't know literally until the night of the pay-per-view, whenever maybe they saw the belt for the first time that night, I don't know, that the belt was not finished. As far as the belt now, I think it's okay. I am excited to see it once it gets done. I think it needs some relief plates in the center where it says TNT. A lot of people say they think it needs gold plating. I think you'll have to gold plate the logo on the E, because I think the E and AEW. Oh, actually, the E and AEW is gold, and the A and then the W are silver. So you have to have some gold there. But if you add gold plating to how it is, at least the current design, I've seen mock-ups of it. I'm not sure if I like the dual plated on a red strap. I think it looks out of place. I almost think you need to stick with just like the silver or the nickel plating. Or if you want to do dual plating, maybe put it on a white strap. That's just me. That's kind of a long-winded answer. What are your thoughts on the new TNT belt, Cole?
What he said. No, I'm just kidding. I
like your answer.
It's unfinished. And I kind of am of the mindset that I'm not really going to comment on it until I see the finished product. I've said this before, the belt, how a belt looks to me is not as important as who's holding it. Because to me, the value of the belt is how you book it and who gets to hold those belts. For instance, they introduced the 24/7 championship in WWE as it was supposed to be taken seriously, and then they put it on all these people and make it booked in a way that's not very serious. Now, R-Truth has killed it with it, has had a lot of funny segments with it.
R-Truth is not the champion anymore. We forgot to
right,
mention that.
I know he's not. and that's a sad thing. But
he'll get it back.
obviously be champion again.
He'll
like
get it back
100
tomorrow.
times before he ever. He'll have the longest. He'll have the most championship reigns, I should say.
Quick, over. I don't want to phrase it that way. How many times do you think R-Truth has held the 24/7 title? Just off the top of your head.
16.
Way more.
More? 20? 25? 30? 32. Higher than 32.
Higher than
41.
No. 36.
36. See, that's what I say. He's going to have like 100 title reigns before it's all said and done. He's already had like the United States titles and tag titles before too. So
You guys got to think this belt, this championship has only been around for a little over a year. This was introduced May of last year. It feels like it's been around so much longer, but I mean, you've had 98 title changes.
And that's what I'm saying is that they introduced it to be this, and then when you book it, it devalues the title when you book it in such a poor way. And I think we've even seen that with the Intercontinental and United States titles, is that when they're booked in such a poor way, the belt loses its value. It doesn't have the same value that it once had when it was held by Shawn Michaels and some of the greats beyond that. You know, even Chris Jericho. I loved when they were talking about the history of the Intercontinental belt, how they didn't even mention Jericho's name, and he is the longest. He has the most reigns as Intercontinental champion. But besides that fact, I would say that for me right now, I don't really have an opinion on the belt because I know it's not finished, and I don't really want an opinion of an unfinished belt. You know, I don't even want to start talking about it because I don't know what they really plan on doing beyond what they've shown us. So I'm kind of the mindset that I love that Cody's holding it. I love that they are making it a valuable belt, regardless of how it looks. I know a belt has to look desirable to want to have it, but I love that they have Cody making it special.
They're doing a good job of that too, because it does feel like the matches that they've had so far have actually, I mean, it does feel like they're going towards the route of having this kind of be like the workhorse title, like the Intercontinental title was. And I hope they stick with that, because I think that if it is with being your TNT title, we'll just say it is your TV title. It is your version of the television title.
Yeah.
And I think it should be defended every week. Now, obviously, it hasn't been wasn't last night. Was it defended the week before?
It's been defended every week except for last night, I believe.
Okay.
Since he's won it.
Well, he's defended it against Jungle Boy, Mark Quinn of Private Party.
It was Starks last week.
That's who it was. Okay, yeah.
And then this week they didn't defend it. They did the press conference with Hager.
Yeah. Okay, so and some of your guys' comments say it looks unfinished. I agree, it looks unfinished. I don't know. I'll just kind of summarize my thoughts. I think it's one of two things. I think AEW had in mind that's the belt that they have on TV now, that's the belt they wanted, but they anticipated backlash from it, no pun intended. So they basically did the reveal before the pay-per-view, so there wasn't maybe as much I'm just trying to think of another word except backlash. There wasn't as much help me out, guys. What's another word for backlash?
Feedback.
Negative feedback.
Negative feedback.
Yeah. So it was either that, or AEW didn't find out maybe until the night of or the night before that it wasn't done, and there was nothing they could do about it. So they just said, okay, we'll just go ahead and put it on TV. I agree with you guys. It looks unfinished, but to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's left primarily a silver belt. And Andrew says I got no problems with silver on a secondary belt, because it is I'm not using the term mid card. It is your secondary title in AEW at the moment. So I kind of hope it's going to be all silver to some degree. I mean, I think you can maybe make it like a two-tone silver or two-tone nickel, but just keep it that way. Don't put any gold on it, maybe except for the logo. Someone said that they thought, I think it was Mr. Ryan that said this, he thinks that the Well, he says that belt is ugly all around. The massive TNT logo should not be there. I see where you're coming from. My guess is the guys at Turner probably had some say so in what the belt looked like, and naturally they want the TNT channel's logo to be a primary focal point of the belt. I don't necessarily fault them for that. What they need to do, like I said, is they need to add like a relief plate or a relief piece, so it's so the TNT is like stacked on it. I do think the AEW logo needs to be bigger as well, because AEW is front and center on all of their other belts, the tag belts, the main world title, and their women's title. On the TNT title, it's just very tiny up at the top. I think it needs to have more of a prominent spot on the belt also. You can keep it at the top, but I think they need to make it bigger. Matt says, still needs details around TNT, but yeah, keep it silver. Yeah, I agree. They need to put some texture around it, like the AEW tag belts. Here, I'll let Cole hold his up. But yeah, see, there's like texture on the edging.
Trying to get it.
No, you're good. So yeah, that texture around the edging on the main plate, something like that. I agree. They need to do something like that. DJ Jesse Lee says, just call it the TV belt and be done with it. I don't think they want to do that just because NWA is using that. Ring of Honor is using that. I think they're just trying to be original. And again, I don't fault them for that. Tell you what, you pick the next topic.
Well, Andrew here says best short-lived tag teams. And I'm trying to understand, and maybe Andrew, I know you're on. Maybe you could maybe detail that question for me a little bit. Are you talking about like one-off teams, like teams that came together, maybe won the tag titles, but were like kind of just thrown together? Are we talking about tag teams that didn't last very long, but we thought that they should have lasted long? I want to kind of understand where you want that to go, because the way I read that, I'm thinking like teams that were actually tag teams that didn't last very long,
like guys that were meant to be a tag team and they weren't around as a team for very long,
right? Because if I'm going off that, I'm saying Eminem, Miz, and John Morrison and Johnny Nitro, I should say, and Joey Mercury.
Yeah,
would be the one that comes directly to mind.
And they were not a bad team. I mean,
they were good.
I'm trying to think of teams that, because there aren't many teams in that category, because if they were good, they kept them together.
Right. The other one that comes to my mind that were kind of thrown together, I would have liked to seen Jericho and Kevin Owens last longer.
That's a good one. Ooh, Errol Carry On 2-man power trip when they had Stone Cold and Triple H together.
Yeah,
that was. I see why they split them back apart though, because I mean I think they're more marketable and more.
A team that was together less than a year. So Matt said Sheamus and Cesaro. They actually were together a long time.
They were together for
Sheamus
quite a while.
I mean, I'm of the mindset that I would love to see them reform, but they were together. I mean, they had like 4 or 5 tag runs.
Andrew says, huge fan of the short-lived tag team Wyndham and Brian Pillman, but then that became Pillman and Austin as the Hollywood Blondes. I'm trying to remember. Maybe they were around longer and I just don't recall. But if you guys remember the Killer Bees back in the old WWF days, B. Brian Blair and Jim Brunzell. There we go. Kate says Dusty and Nikita.
What about Hurricane Helms and Kane?
Yeah.
You could technically say Team Hell No too.
Yeah. 3-minute warning wasn't around for that long.
That's true.
Rosie and Jamal.
Yeah.
Been on a mission.
How long was Legacy together? Like Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr.
Andrew says the Bees were around from 85 to 88. Yeah, I thought they were around for a little bit. It feels like they weren't around that long. To answer your question, Legacy probably was around for,
because they were like a tag team before Legacy, and then they like joined Legacy. But I really enjoyed that tag team, and I don't think they ever got the push that they deserved.
Steven's a good one. Steven suggested a good one. Goldust and Booker T.
Yeah.
Kane and RVD.
Tyson Kidd and Cesaro.
That's a good one. I barely even. I mean, I remember it, but just like
Tyson Kidd and Davey Boy Jr. son.
Yeah. The did they refer to themselves as the New Heart Foundation or something like that?
They were like the New Heart Foundation. And they had Natalia.
Oh, Andrew, yeah, good one. Enforcers, you had Larry Zbyszko and Arn Anderson. Totally forgot about that. Undertaker and Big Show.
3MB was actually together.
They were around for a while.
They just didn't do anything.
Yeah, you had Austin and HBK and Nash, Austin and Dude Love. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Would you say American Alpha? Because they broke them up pretty much as soon as they called them up.
Yeah. Hart Dynasty, that was it. I knew it wasn't Hart Foundation. I just couldn't remember.
Hart Dynasty, that's true. Yeah.
Brothers of Destruction, Kane and Taker. I don't think I can really count those. They were kind of
over the years.
They're off and on.
I wouldn't put them in that category.
Oh, Lynn, Ron Simmons and Butch Reed, Doom. That's a good one. I mean, they were around for a little while, but I mean, really 2 years or so, I think. Because I mean, Ron Simmons did his singles thing around 90, 91, and they've put them together, and I want to say 88, 89. So yeah, maybe 2 years or so.
R-Truth and The Miz, back when R-Truth was doing his little Johnny gimmick.
I forgot R-Truth was a heel.
Yeah, his little Johnny gimmick. They were a tag team.
You guys are suggesting really good ones. You've got Pretty Wonderful. You've got
Stars and Stripes.
Orndorff and Paul Roma, HBK and Cena, Flair and Batista. Stars and Stripes. That was Patriot and Bagwell. That's right.
Cena and HBK was a good one.
Varsity Club. Yeah, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. They didn't keep them around.
Yeah, they should have. I do like the storyline they're doing now with that. Obviously we know Dolph's not winning that match, but
yeah, that'd be a pleasant surprise. If
I would love it. I think we've missed the mark with Dolph, but yeah, I think they could have made them Batista and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
That they were a tag team that probably could have went further than what they did.
They didn't keep Eddie and Chavo together for very long.
Or Eddie and Ray.
Yeah. All right, let's do another question here, or a topic. We'll do I think we'll do two more of these. I'll pick one and then Cole will pick one, and then we'll probably have to call the show. I need to be on another phone call at 10:30 my time. So just trying to find a good one, guys. Bear with me. All right, Mr. Ryan. Top 3 favorite titles. I'm just going to answer that.
Titles or belts?
I'm going to answer that as top 3 favorite belts.
And
I'm going to say top 3 favorite of all time. Let's see. I mean, my top one is the big gold. Lynn. Braun and the little kid.
That's funny.
That's the best one. Man, you guys are still throwing out good ones. This is I got to go through. So Edge and Hogan, forgot about. I mean, they held the tag belts.
Edge and Mick Foley.
Yeah. Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan, Wyndham and Dustin Rhodes, Eddie and Tajiri, Douglas and Steamboat. I forgot about them.
Stardust and Goldust. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, back to favorite belts here. So, Strikeforce, yeah, Can-Am Connection, Tom Zink and Martel, I think. All right, so top 3 favorite belts. So Big Gold is my top one. I would say probably my second one is probably the NWA TV on the red strap, and then my third is probably the Winged Eagle. Just, I mean. There are a lot of honorable mentions. I mean, the classic IC, the classic WWF tag belts. So, I mean, NWA US tag belts. I like belts that are on red straps for whatever reason. I'm not even really a fan of the color red in general, but anyway.
The big gold, I think, is obviously always one that's a favorite. I like the big gold. Alex knows my all-time favorite belt is John Cena's spinner belt. It's the only belt that I own. I love the John Cena spinner belt. I'll tell you one that I really like that I don't think people like that much is I liked the the redone version of the ECW belt when WWE brought it back.
The big silver.
Yeah, I actually liked that one. I love the X Division belt. TNA's X Division belt. I really enjoy.
The current one?
No, the original. The original X Division.
The one with the big red X on it?
Yeah, I liked that one.
Okay.
I like NXT's North American. Currently, I like the North American. And then one that no one ever talks about, I feel like, I actually like Lucha Underground's The Gift of the Gods. I like the medallions that go all the way across. You guys remember I'm a new school fan, so I do like Ric Flair's NWA belt, like back when Ric Flair was NWA champion, the original.
The Dome Globe
as well. So, but yeah, those would probably be the ones that stick out the most to me.
I wonder some of your guys. We got Kenneth. He says the white IC, the big winged WWF title. I think. Do you mean the Big Eagle probably? And then European Championship. The European doesn't get enough love.
Yeah, European was.
Cade, Big Gold, Magnum's last 2 U.S. belts in Western States. That's an interesting pick. Western States is actually not a bad belt. Mr. Ryan, Big Gold, the World Tag titles from 03 and 04, and the TNA World title, the one that Moose just brought back recently. Matt says NWA title, WWF title, and then the original ECW. Ashley says IWGP Heavyweight. That's a.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you mean the current one because there's been 4 different versions. AW Tag. Ashley, did you see the AW tags that we had with us? Did you see those? Let's show those.
I'll wear it for the rest of the show. I'll put it back on.
I do want to show these because these are. I mean, in my opinion, I own the most ring accurate AEW tag belts that there are. I mean, down to, so you've got. Try to focus on this. But I mean, these are just even down to, I'll show you guys the backing on this. It's not exact like it is on TV, but it's got, these have the snakeskin backing on them like they do on TV. Now, again, it's not the same kind of design necessarily, but yeah, these are, I'm proud to say I own at least what I've seen the most ring accurate AW tag belts that there are. Mr. Ryan, I hate Gift of Gods.
Well, to each his own.
Agreed. Ashley said I just read hers. Oh, and her third was the Winged Eagle. Ashley, I apologize if I said her. I apologize if you're a guy because I know that there are people there are guys with the first name Ashley, so I apologize. Andrew, NWA TV on the black strap is almost underrated now. I prefer the red strap version, but the black one is nothing to sneeze at. Agreed. Bonnie says the Jeff Hardy TNA title.
That was a good one.
Mark says he was always a fan of the European Championship. DJ Jesse Lee, Red TV, another Western States vote. 10 pounds of gold. Michael, Big Gold, Undisputed, WWF/E in the Big TNA. Mr. Ryan says also Undisputed title is one of the best ever. Oh, Ashley said, no, I didn't. I just tuned in a few minutes ago. Oh, well, I hope you liked what you saw. Or see, in Cole's case. Lynn says NWA TV red strap. IC title strap. Savage and Steamboat. And the UWF heavyweight. Interesting pick. DJ Jesse Lee, AWA tags, NWA National Championship in the AWA World. Actually, Mr. Ryan, these aren't super heavy. I mean, compared to my AWA World, these things are super light. I mean, they've got weight to them, but
yeah,
my AEW is like,
it's heavy.
It's 14 pounds, I think, and these are probably not even half that. These might be 6 or 7. Let's see. John says Lucha Underground title. Okay, Ashley. Okay, you're fine. I'm a female. Okay, I appreciate it. You letting me know. I don't want to get any of that. I don't want to offend anybody as far as that goes. Andrew says top 3 tag titles: AWA, NWA, and UWF. Interesting. Okay, Cole, you pick one more, and then I think we're gonna have to call the show, guys. Like I said, I gotta jump on another call in about 10 minutes, so we'll have to wrap this up.
Wrestler with the best merch historically.
Who asked that?
Andrew asked it earlier.
And
then
that's
he
an
said,
interesting question.
I'm thinking Savage. I don't, and I don't say this because I'm a fan. I say it because it's literally everywhere. John Cena sold a ton of merch. I mean,
well, how's the question phrased? Like
it says most historically. Wrestler with the best merch historically. And I feel like Savage would be up there. I feel like John Cena has to be up there. CM Punk is probably up there too, actually, just because people went, nuts for his stuff.
I know who my vote goes to.
I'm trying to think. Ric Flair probably is up there. Are we talking, that's the other thing, are we talking official merch or are we talking just the most like merch sold with their brand on it? Because there's like tons of like Flair and Savage merch out there that's not like a wrestling promotions merch. It's just like a company that made it. Right. So I have a Flair shirt that says "Just Woo It" with the Nike sign on it. So like I'm saying, like
he says, I was thinking aesthetically. I'll just tell you mine real quick. Now a lot of you guys are saying Stone Cold at NWO. Those would be my 1A, 1B. But if you guys, DX is there too.
DX, yeah.
If you guys go back in the annals of time, as who coined that phrase? Is it Mick Foley that said that? I don't know. It's irrelevant. But if you go back in the day, Ultimate Warrior had a lot of merch. I mean, you had like I had the wristbands. There was like a bandana thing that I had. Travis says Hulk Hogan. That's a good one.
Sting probably is up there. I know, like when he came back for WrestleMania weekend, he like most of the younger fan base didn't even know who he was, and he said he was the #1 selling merch that weekend, and most of that fan base doesn't even know who he is.
Right.
So he's probably up there. I don't know. It's hard to, without going and looking at the numbers. Obviously, it's hard to say. I don't know what probably era probably had the most merch buying fan base either, because I mean there was a season there where like wrestling gear was being, or like wrestling merch was being sold at Walmart. You know what I mean? Like Walmart had like all the superstar shirts and stuff, like their main people in the Walmart shirt section. So I don't know like what the most which era probably had the most merch buying type era, because that would play a huge role into it as well. I would think probably like 70s and 80s probably had more merch buying fans, if I had to guess.
Well, one thing we got to remember too is there are a lot of guys late now. Now, I'm not by any means saying that any of these are remotely close to anybody that we've mentioned so far. I mean, NWO is still selling shirts.
Yeah.
Hogan is still selling shirts. I mean,
Savage is still selling
shirts. You can find Savage stuff on Pro Wrestling Tees. I think
WWE
still has some. A lot of these are, you know, John Cena is still moving merch.
Yeah.
But you've got guys like Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, especially lately with the Fiend stuff. Like, I mean, at one point, the Fiend took over
Road Warriors. Someone said Road Warriors. I could see that.
Yeah. At one point, the Fiend took over the #1 spot for WWE's top merchandise seller. I don't know what it is currently, but I'm trying to get a good answer as far as maybe who are the top merch movers of all time. Basically,
someone said Hardy Boys. I don't think not collectively, I don't think would be on that list. Maybe separately, like Matt selling his stuff and Jeff selling his stuff. But like as the Hardy Boys team, I don't think they would even probably crack the top 10. Someone said Four Horsemen. Again, I don't see a whole lot of like Four Horsemen merch. I see a lot of like separate shirts for each of them.
Has anybody mentioned The Rock?
The Rock is up there, but I don't know if he would crack the top 10.
He does though. Like I'm looking at a website now. I'm trying to find an up-to-date one. This is from 2018. But he's top 3.
I could see that
in WWE at least.
His Bring It On shirt was probably up there on its own.
So
yeah, because he, I mean, like the problem is that he didn't stay around that long. So I kind of forget that he probably moved heavy merch though when he was there though.
yeah. Let's see. Shawn Michaels, Renegade WCW.
Shawn Michaels, Triple H is probably up there.
Daniel Bryan, Bella Twins. Bullet Club. That's a good one. I mean,
I didn't think about Bullet Club.
Bullet Club. I mean, they're still around. I mean, they're still moving merch.
Is this current wrestlers are like current people?
Well, I'm just throwing out names from these comments. Larry Nickel, you can private message me about these AEW tag belts, and I can share where I got them from. Due to I'll say pending promotional / sponsorships for our show, we are no longer promoting or openly plugging any specific groups or companies or belt makers or whatever. But I can tell you privately where I got these from. So, obviously, Bastion Booger and TL Hopper had the best merch. Obviously, Andrew says Daniel Bryan was a big star with awful merch. I don't know. People really jumped on that.
The Yes Movement stuff.
The Yes shirts. They jumped on that hemp belt.
Yeah.
That eco-friendly belt.
Yeah.
I mean, that belt sold out the same day it was released on WWE's website. And I mean, they still got $400 for it each. I mean, anyway.
We're going off current people, like obviously the main stars in WWE with like Seth Rollins and some of those guys are going to be up there, but
Becky Lynch.
All time, Becky Lynch is definitely up there.
All right, guys. I appreciate the participation and the suggestions. We are going to call the show. I didn't actually know I had this 10:30 phone call until we were on air. So apologize to you guys. I apologize to Cole because I wasn't able to tell him ahead of time, but we do need to call it a show. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. We're always live at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, Mondays and Thursdays. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. Again, please like our Facebook page so we can get closer to doing that 3-belt giveaway. Share our page with your friends. Invite someone to like our page. Make sure, just real quick, I've said this before, make sure that you don't just follow the Facebook page. I know that's kind of contradictory because you have to follow the Instagram and Twitter pages. Make sure you actually like the Facebook page, not just follow it. And whenever you invite people to hop on our page, just let people know to like the page and not just follow it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you do all 4 of those, you'll be entered into all of our future giveaways. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Glad you had fun. We had fun. And I don't know what we'll do Monday, but
we might do Fyter Fest predictions.
That's right. That is coming up, isn't it?
Wait.
That's what we'll do Monday. We'll do our
Monday show.
Night, we'll do our night 1 predictions for Fyter Fest.
Let's get it.
We'll have to do some Great American Bash predictions too, because I'm sure they'll release the
card.
Yeah, I mean, for cards like this, they're promoting it as like a pay-per-view-esque scale, so you know they're going to release the cards ahead of time. All right, so for Cole, for Alex, myself, again, thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with us. Join us back live Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, and we'll see you then.
And so, goodbye. And good night. Bang!
This podcast was a presentation of LightUpMedia.fm.